Hello and welcome to the North Bank Podcast. It's another North Bank Meets podcast with me, Stefan, hosting, and I'm joined today by comic and podcaster from the Screenrot Podcast. Welcome to the North Bank, Jacob Hawley.
Thanks for having me. Very excited.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, brilliant. So before we get started in the sort of, where you started supporting Arsenal and all those sorts of things, I just want to ask you a little bit because I first heard you on the Football Cliches podcast, and that led me to then Screenrot, which I know you do. And I just wondered, from a football broadcasting or a football social media point of view, what in the world of football would you class as Screenrot? What's the mind-numbing stuff that you think is just kind of there?
Great question. There's so much, man. I feel like football almost exists for the point of content now. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's it's especially the way punditry has gone towards this kind of overlap model of just forever podcast. I quite like Gary Neville. I used to really think he was a great pundit, and I kind of think he's gone down the toilet now because he does 9 podcasts a week, so he hasn't got time to watch the games he's talking about. Do you know what I mean? It's like he obviously can't. He does too much recording time. So, I think there's so much like just inane shite. I don't know why. I always end up watching the content that gets made around players joining up with the England camp. Do you know what I mean? I always I remember one. I don't know why this sticks in my memory. I remember there was this sort of like semi-viral clip of Dominic Calvert-Lewin reporting at St George's Park, and he sort of doffed his cap to Southgate. And I just remember, that's just like, it wasn't long after, because do you remember he did like that mad photo shoot where he's sort of wearing a skirt and a handbag?
Yeah,
do you remember him and Tom
People
Davies?
were up in arms. Yeah.
People didn't like that. Yeah, him and Tom Davies did that. I mean, I don't care, but I do think it was quite mad. I'm not upset by it, but I'm like, wow, you don't see that a lot, right?
No.
But it was very shortly after that, and I do wonder if he has some kind of PR advisor who was like, right, the girls' clothes thing was a fucking shocker, mate. We need to kind of like win back your public appeal. So try sort of doing a sort of Peaky Blinders style doff of the cap to Gareth Southgate. But it's just shit like that, or like, Like they just point a camera in front of Declan Rice and say, who's the waviest guy in training? He's like, it's got to be Sacks. Do you know what I mean? Just shit. Who's it for? What does it promote? Who cares? And yet there's so much of it. I think football's so good for that now. Like, obviously fan media is such a big thing. I don't really want to go into that too much because I've already taken the piss out of Arsenal fan TV enough. But like, fan media has kind of eaten itself now, hasn't it? It's kind of become its own industry to the point where, like, like Baller League. I mean, I don't know if you watch much of Soccer Aid.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, it's sort of influencers and guys who come straight from Baller League and
Yeah.
I don't know who any of them are. And I work in this space. I do a lot of football podcasts and content and stuff like that. And even I don't know who the fuck any of them are. It's mad. It's a mad world. I did a thing last summer. This is the best answer to your question is something I've actually done. What's the worst bit of screenwriting football content? I did a thing last summer where it was like me and 12 other kind of like football pundit podcast influencer idiots, right? Fucking nobodies who've never played the game but are somehow making a living out of YouTube. Yeah, right. It was me and like 12 others. It was sponsored by Currys. It was to promote a new speaker. And what they did is they got me and these other fucking idiots, Tom Garrett, people like that. And I really like Tom, but like people like that. We played a five-a-side game, and they had this big fucking speaker at the side of the pitch, and we were just sort of like, why is that there? And then the reveal of the content was they had Ally McCoist and fucking Clive Tilsley commentating us through the speaker. And it's like the cost of all of this. So that at the end, like, Ally McCoist can turn to camera and go, and that's why you buy a Samsung speaker.
Believe you me. Yeah,
that's
a great speaker.
So I mean, that I think that's a good example of the kind of weirdest content that gets produced around football, is when you've got football content creators as part of the content with established commentators commentating them to sell a speaker at Curry's.
Well, we on the North Bank here, me, Holly, and Chris, who normally get together, we've spoken about there's been this split. When Neville did join Monday Night Football, it felt okay. We had Andy Gray and everything before, and they were what they were. But here's someone who's not too distant away from his playing career, actually analysing what's going on and telling us about why they move in this way, and it was like, okay, right, great insight. But it's not moved on, and it's almost like, especially with the rise of fan TV sort of culture and all this watch along stuff that sort of since happened, it's like Sky are chasing that now rather than trying to be the highbrow side of things. For tactics now, there's loads of great YouTubers out there. There's and different fan channels and stuff who have great insight into coaching and this, that, and the other. If I want to go down that route.
Well, it makes sense because YouTubers have got all day long to fucking read about football tactics, watch football, and study what they're talking about. Gary Neville owns a chain of hotels. Like, do you know what I mean? It's of course the YouTubers are better, and I completely agree with you. And I agree with you that I think they're kind of going for headline grabby. It's like they could have gone Athletic or they could have gone TalkSport, and they've gone TalkSport. Do you know what I mean? I guess in a time of kind of flash content that exists for 3 seconds and disappears like chip paper, then maybe that's the most economic thing to do, rather than time-consuming, research-led, analysis.
So where do you feel you said you've done that thing with Curry's? I've seen some clips of you online. You did like Arsenal Supporters Trust gigs and things like that as well. Because are you still able to sort of separate? Okay, I'm a fan, or are you angling in and trying to use football as a means to do stuff?
Oh, I definitely was. I mean, I'd say a year, more than a year. Like 18 months ago, I started doing these kind of like videos where I was looking down the camera talking about football and Arsenal.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of those, yeah.
And then that got me on a lot of like football podcasts and doing more football media. And I would say it was the start of the summer of 2024. I do the Kickoff, which is a big YouTube football show, and the lads on there were like, you should start your own football YouTube. Do you know what I mean? And so I was considering that, but I mean, I sort of see myself more of a comedian, and I think now where I've got busier with Screenrot and other stuff, and I think comedy has kind of made me too busy to do any football YouTube. I don't know if how you feel with this stuff, mate, but like, there are people that know more about football than me. There are people that care more about football than me, and I don't want to compete with them. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're saying about, like, I watch these YouTubers and they're fucking amazing. They're brilliant. But I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck are you doing? Like you must spend all day on this. And I just don't. Like, I don't watch every game at the weekend. I don't start with the 12:30 on a Saturday and finish with the 4:30 on the Sunday, or indeed with Monday Night Football, because I've got 2 kids, a busy work life, a missus who doesn't, like, I've tried, she doesn't care. You know, she's Irish, she doesn't care, and so like, I just don't, like, I really enjoy the bits. I do the Arsenal Opinion podcast, I do the Kickoff, I do bits and bobs here and there sometimes, but it's I think I can appreciate that there are people much better than me at doing football podcasting and football content, because they fucking live it, man. Whereas I can't compete with that, and I tell you, there's loads I could shout out who I think are brilliant. I think, especially as Arsenal, there's loads of really good Arsenal people, and it's very frequently, you know, the Overlap do that show with the fans, where they get loads of fans sat there opposite Scholes and Carragher. I'm always very proud of whoever Arsenal have on there. I always usually look at them and go, yeah, that's a good representative of us.
Well, that's sort of, I'm assuming the reason you're happy with that representation is because generally they tend to find people who are a bit more level-headed, because it's kind of the reason that we started, me, Holly and Chris. We saw this kind of rage-baiting stuff where I call it performative anger, like people getting angry over things in football. because it's clickbait and all that kind of thing as well. And I was like, no, there's a
don't
more
care.
rational sort of thing about. So we don't shout and scream. We get the highs and lows like any other normal fan, but we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and think, okay, one defeat or everything's got to be torn up and thrown about. We're not chasing that. It's more just about, okay, let's have a chat, see what we think. And also we're really big on just like the experience. I still go to a lot of games, and it's about that culture side of it, I suppose. So,
and I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on that. I think especially as well, I'm getting older, and I just don't hold my opinion strong enough anymore to want to scream and shout about them. Because I don't know about you, mate, but I flip flop now, and I quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
I thought Mikel Merino was absolute shit, and then I thought he was really good.
It's great.
And I've kind of gone back again, and I don't care. And if someone were to tweet me and go, "You idiot, Marino's great," I'd go, "Yeah, he probably is, isn't he? Yeah, fine."
Yeah.
I'm easily swayed. Fine.
I'm doing that with
Yeah.
the whole Sesco Gyökeres at the minute. Like you can call
fine.
me every hour of every day. I'm like, oh, do you know what, Sesco? He's probably the one. Yeah, he's probably the one. And then the next minute, I'm going, why aren't we looking at Gyökeres? I don't get it. It's weird.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So-
Yeah. And I'll start repeating it to other people as well. Someone will say to me, "You know, Gyökeres doesn't score goals with his head," and I'll be saying to people, "You can't get Gyökeres. You doesn't score goals with his head." And then someone will go, "You know, Sesko only got 18 goals." I'll be like, "Sesko, you know he only got 18. It has to be Gyökeres." Like, I just fucking, I don't care. But it's the whole point. It's completely inane. It's completely pointless. It does not solve world hunger. We are now. If you're right, if I say Sesko, you say Gyökeres, and I'm wrong and you're right, you don't get, woohoo, we both fucking support Arsenal anyway, it'll be alright. Like, I remember listening, I won't say which one it was, but I remember listening to an Arsenal podcast during the Emery era, and like there's two guys, and I shouldn't, yeah, there was these two guys on this podcast, and one of them's just going, "It's just shit. Emery's just shit. It's just rubbish." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, well, what should we do about that?" He's just like, "What do you want us to do?"
Just
yeah,
shout
it probably
about
is.
it.
Yeah, do you want me to shout as well? Would you feel better if I shouted? It just found it so funny. He just went, "Yeah, well, what are we going to do?"
Well, this is it. I mean, the whole transfer thing. I mean, our usual host Holly, he's all about the transfer rumours. Oh, he absolutely laps it up. I've heard every word from concrete interest, cooling their interest. I mean, he lives for that stuff. But then I've had a few interactions online where I'll say to people, "Yeah, but if we don't get them, whatever, it's just like what, bit of a shrug of the shoulders because there's also nothing we could do about it." But then you get people reacting, going, "Well, we shouldn't let this stand. Like, the club need to be taken into account." And I was like, "How did we do that?"
Yeah. Do we have to do a march now?
Yeah.
Do we have to go to the armory now?
There's no games we can not go to.
Yeah. We should fucking talk with our feet and stay at home anyway.
That pre-season match in Singapore against Newcastle, I'm not going. I'll tell you now. I'm not going.
And it's also like I do think, and I've definitely done this in the past. I've definitely been guilty of this. Like there are times you want to say to people like they're just so angry. Like I'm in so many group chats. Season ticket holders, people who do this, people who do that.
Oh yeah.
And in one of them, there's one guy who just every time it's like, "It's not fucking good enough. Not good enough. We don't spend enough money. It's not good enough." It's like, do you enjoy this? You want to say it? You want to be like, do you enjoy?
I've said that very thing to people before. Where do you get the enjoyment out of it?
Yeah, because I don't know about you. I've just renewed my season ticket.
Yeah.
That is a disgusting amount of money.
Disgusting.
I have to enjoy it. And I remember walking out of my mate who I go with. I sit next to one guy, and we've been going together for about 6 years now. And I remember like Eddie and Ketia used to drive me mad. And I just remember once, we were walking out the stadium. I remember which game it was actually. It was a 0-0 at home to Newcastle. It was in a January. It was about 3 seasons ago, and the whole narrative of the game was that they kept kicking the ball out and time wasting. I don't know if you remember that. That was like the story of the game.
Eddie Howe parking the bus, 100%.
Yeah, and everyone, all anyone was talking about afterwards was how long the ball was in play. I was I feel like I've never heard that since. That it was that one game of 36 minutes, and you're like, bloody hell. And but I was walking out with my mate, and I'm just tearing strips off Eddie. Oh, he doesn't move. We lose Saka when he plays. And my mate was like, yeah, well, I've worked 12 fucking hours today. I've spent 20 quid on 2 beers, and I just want to enjoy it. So shut the fuck up.
You know what? Fair play. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, fair enough, mate.
I do feel cheated.
I've probably been up all night with my kids. Yeah, I've probably wound up about that. We should both just go to therapy, really. I think it's cheaper though. I'm just thinking in my head. I think a season ticket. Yeah, it's just about cheaper than therapy, isn't it? So that's fine.
Just about. I always feel cheated with a 0-0 though. I don't know about you. Like, do you know what? Even if we lose 1 or 2-0, just seeing a goal, I feel like I don't know. It'd be like I can't think of like watching any sport. Imagine go to a basketball game, you don't see a basket. Like what? Yeah. What's the point? Like I know there's fewer goals in football, but I always need to see that. Okay,
yeah,
then.
I'm the same. Sorry, Matt. Lee, go on.
No, it's all right. I was going to get started on the proper questions that I sort of roughly cobbled to get there. So let's take us back to the beginning. You say you've been sort of going about 6 years currently. Is that how long you've had a season
I've been
ticket?
a season ticket holder. Yeah, I've been a season ticket holder for 6 years. But I mean, I've supported Arsenal as long as I can remember, since I was about 8.
So where did it all start? What was the spark that started it with Arsenal?
Do you know? I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't know. I don't remember. I've been told a few stories. So my father's right. My mum's dad was a Spurs fan, and I was told that my dad made me a gooner to wind him up. Which
I'm sure that wouldn't be the first time.
There's also. I mean, I'm relatively. I grew up in Stevenage. So it was sort of 2 stops to Finsbury Park. I guess it was our closest Premier League club. So it's a bit of that.
Yeah, it's going to be, isn't it?
But I mean, I also just remember growing up and leaning towards Arsenal. And even though geographically I was quite close, mine was a Man United school, as many of the home counties were. And I just liked this thing that like Arsenal felt like the contender to United's dominance. Do you know what I mean? We were the contender, and we were a bit different. French coach, team from all over the world, and I just liked that. I liked that we felt like, and we wound people up. People didn't like some of that stuff. People didn't like Wenger. People didn't like France and all. Do you remember that? I just like that, and so I just fell in love with it really quickly, and just followed it, loved it. I remember I used to be able to get the text updates of games on my phone. I'd get the scores text to me. I don't know if you ever had that.
Well, I'm a little bit older than you. I remember CFAX and teletext and all that, and watching. You had the scores on rolling pages. So if your club were on page, I mean, Arsenal were usually on page 1, and then you'd have to. But they would just roll automatically. So if you were on page 1, but it was on page 3, you've got to go through all the others, and then it goes back to 1, and you're like, oh. It was 1-0 last time, and now it's 2-1. Like, what the hell? Like, just text on the screen.
But that's how you'd enjoy games, wasn't it? I mean, like now, it doesn't matter if we're 3:00. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter where we are. Like, I will find a stream. I'll be able to watch it. Whereas there just used to be. I remember, I just accept that very often I couldn't see it. And so I used to get text messages on my little Nokia phone telling me the score. And I remember being at someone's house and we scored against United and just fucking jumping up and down, and then match of the day I'd always watch, and then I was lucky enough to be able to start going when I was a sort of teenager. I'm
a big fan of football on the radio, and one of my favourite experiences was when we beat Milan in the San Siro 2008, I think it was.
Yes,
I was filming a documentary on the Norfolk Broads. We were staying on the Broads, but filming around Norfolk, and staying in a place that it had like a gas stove and like a radio, but it was battery powers, and so I was listening to the radio whilst cooking over a gas stove of our brilliant like commentary of that massive victory, and I was with people who couldn't care less about football, but I'm there screaming like I'm in the San Siro when we scored the second goal, because I'm like, yes, we're actually going to do this, and it was just all radio. It's brilliant.
It's just such a lovely thing, isn't it, to be in the car and celebrating a goal just on your own. Just, I often drive to gigs on a Saturday, and so I'll be listening to like the scores rolling in, and the 5:30's just begun, and like and there'll be times I'll listen to like the first half on the radio, and then get to a gig, get in the green room, get my laptop open, watch the second half, whatever. Just fucking I also quite enjoy listening to non-Arsenal games in the car. Like I've got a few memories. Do you remember when Brentford got promoted from the Championship in the playoffs? That was 6 years ago.
Was that the penalty either end incident?
Yeah,
the Deeney one. Yeah.
No, that's Watford. That was Watford.
Oh, that was Watford. Of course, it was.
That was Watford.
No.
Yeah. It was Tony scored in the playoff final, but it's just like fucking. I just listening to that and just it's just nice, isn't it? Just I don't know.
Other people's enjoyment and you can just enjoy it for the drama that it is.
When you just pick a show, you just pick a team for the sake of it. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to be Forest today for whatever reason. You just fucking go on for a bit. I've long history of watching Arsenal and I'm grateful to be an Arsenal fan now. I don't know about you, but you don't really pick your team, do you? I don't know what happened to me, but for whatever reason, I ended up Arsenal. But like, I look back now, and even though it's been tough times over the last few years, it's fucking good being an Arsenal fan.
No, absolutely, and I think I've definitely come to terms with that whole thing of quite liking not being liked. Like I love that idea, and I've certainly embraced that in the last sort of few years. No one likes us, we don't care kind of attitude, because
100%.
Because we are a bit different and we do things differently. We don't always do it right, but we do it differently to others. And
sometimes we do though. That's the thing. There's so many things that I do think the club does do right, and I'm proud of. I'm proud that we've got a very multicultural fan base. I'm proud that we've got a women's team that are as well funded as
that
any
Champions
club
League
funds their
final
women's
recently with
team.
women was unreal.
Champions of Europe, mate. I was in Barcelona last week, and I was saying to people,
Wicked.
Arsenal women champion of the year, and it's fucking great. I think it's a great club to support, Arsenal.
Holly, our host, had the stat recently about how I think the Arsenal women's average attendance would put them something like mid-table in the Premier League, and they'd be basically at the top of the Championship, were it not for like Leeds and Sunderland. I mean, that's the women's. That Arsenal are so invested in women's football. And have been for a long time, and they're paying dividends. I know people who, their men's team is another team, but their women's team is Arsenal, because Arsenal
really
I've definitely met people for whom that's the case. A lot of women in particular, because essentially they support a men's team for the usual reasons. It's who family supported or their local club or whatever. But Arsenal women were so present for a long time, and maybe more than other clubs were, that they've gone, well, I like them, I like what they're about, so actually I'll follow them, and they split their allegiances. So they're massive, absolutely massive. Okay, going back then, who were some of the first players? You said about France and all. So were there some of those French players that obviously sort of got you excited?
I think the first Arsenal player I remember really liking was Freddie, when he had the dark red haircut. I remember enjoying that. But yeah, I loved Pires. I really, really, really loved Pires. And I was like, some of the goals, some of the spectacular goals, like that looped sort of chip against Southampton from miles out. Like, there's just the Liverpool goal from the edge of the box, like the Villa one, the little chip against Villa, like so many. But I look back now, and I think I almost didn't appreciate Henry enough. Do you know what I mean? Like I think because I was like 11, 12. Like, I just thought we'd always have a player like that. I just thought we'd always have this freak.
How wrong we were.
Who could just win the game for you. I mean, take the fact that he's a striker aside, take the goal scoring aside, like, just a player who could just win a game of football for you. It doesn't matter what everyone else on the pitch does. He could just decide, today's my day, and I'm just going to bend the game my way. I'm faster than everyone, I'm more skillful, I can score from anywhere. And I just thought, we'll probably always have one of them. Maybe Walcott's the next one. Do you know what I mean? And it's, lo and behold, I've never seen anything. I don't think I've seen anything like it for any other Premier League team either, to be perfectly honest. I think he was so special and unique, and yeah. But so yeah, Henry was something I loved. But yeah, it's just that left hand side, because Vieira would sort of tilt left as well, wouldn't he? Ashley Cole, fucking what a team, man.
It's just so good. I mean, I love Ashley Cole, but just because at the time I was, I went to a couple of games sort of early doors, but really that was when I'd noticed I was really invested in the team. You know, I supported them as a kid, but didn't always watch them because we couldn't. But when Ashley Cole came through, there was someone young, English, and brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Literally, I mean, people say he was the best player in that position for that time, and he played for Arsenal, came through Arsenal, which was just magic. And so I've never seen that. I think I didn't appreciate at the time Henry's speed. You know, he had the guile and the skill and everything like that. There's clips been out recently because he was what was he on? He was on Carragher and Neville's overlap thing.
He did the overlap,
and he was quite kind to Carragher, I thought, because he said, "Look, people forget that Carragher probably tackled me more than I got past him, but people remember the time
I don't remember that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, you're being nice there."
Yeah, you're being kind to the host, which is nice of you, but I think, I remember him fucking killing him. I remember him just killing him.
And the twist and and it was that change of pace, and it was just,
strength as well. Strength as well.
Yeah, hugely.
I think because he didn't do much in the air, he wasn't winning many headers, you forgot, he's 6'3". You know, he wasn't, you think of him as this light, fast sort of wing forward. He's a fucking monster.
Everyone thought that about the whole
team.
team.
So strong. Yeah, really? I know.
They thought we were
it's
soft.
Mad.
But
you look back, Pires as well, 6'2". You know, like Bergkamp is one of the toughest, and people have said one of the nastiest players on the pitch they've ever played with. Yeah, and it's, you know, that's your creative, airy fairy number 10. Elbowing people around the penalty.
Who, for me, I think because of the dates we're talking about, I'm a bit older. For me, as much as Henry, yes, it's such a good player. Whitey was always my favourite growing up, just because he played with a smile on his face. But Bergkamp did things on a football field, again, I've never seen. And just what he would think to do wouldn't be on anyone else's kind of radar, with the passes that he made, the way he controlled the ball, and the skill that he executed it with. But like you say, then had this absolute mean streak through the whole thing as well.
Well, that's it. And I think we've had some similar players to Bergkamp in the creativity sense, kind of attacking mid-10s. You think of Fabregas and obviously Ozil, Ødegaard now.
Even Ødegaard now, yeah.
All great players, but I don't think any of them had that streak of ruthlessness that Bergkamp had, and you forget that he started his career as a 9. He's a striker. He scored a lot of important goals, and he would kill a team. It just one pass, one flick, one shot, he could just kill a team. And I think that the team we have now needs a little bit more of that individualism.
Well, good that you mentioned that, because the next question on my list is about the current team. Who stands out for you?
Yeah.
Who are your favourites at the moment?
Do you know what? You have to say Saka, and I have to say he's another one I think I underappreciate sometimes, just how fucking brilliant
I've said just that
is.
recently, that he's still kind of underrated in a weird sense.
massively underrated. And when I'm talking about that thing of being able to just change game on your own, he has that.
Yes.
He does that
100%.
all the time. And he's not a stat padder. This guy isn't scoring the third and fourth goals in games. He's the first goal. It's either him scoring the goal or it's him crossing the ball in for Gabriel Magalhaes to score it. It's him every single time. His strength, his ability on the ball, change of pace, he's got it. It's just unbelievable player. I love Ødegaard, and I know this has been a bad season, but I still love Ødegaard, and I still believe that he will come back. I've got it on good authority. He's been injured the last season. I have to say, Mars Lewis Skelly's really taken me back this year. And
has everyone.
Well, and I think it was Declan Rice won the fans' player of the season the other day. My player of the season is Miles. I just to have come from an academy kid who we thought might get cup minutes, to starting left back for Arsenal and England, one of the most important players against Paris Saint-Germain in two legs, and forget where he was and where he is now. Just where he is now, I absolutely love him as a footballer. It's like if you could give Zinchenko Floyd Mayweather's upper body. Do you know what I mean? Just it's like all the creativity, all the footwork, all the moves to beat someone, all the passes, and yet Bosch, get out of my way. No, you're not. You know you're not wrestling me off the ball. Just fucking because Zinchenko was great when it worked, and it's like if you said to someone, imagine Zinchenko, but you just can't get him off the ball. He's so strong. That's the dream, and we've got it. I think again underappreciated, Miles. Because of all the noise around him, underappreciated.
You say about the noise around him, and you mentioned earlier about Calvert-Lewin's England arrival. I remember there was a bit of a hoo-ha when Lewis Skelly was called up for the first time for England, and he showed up. And there were a few, let's say, online commentators who were kind of like saying that he shouldn't be so confident, perhaps, with his first time attending. And look, it's like, I've never met a footballer, even whoever the best footballer was that I went to school with, they were arrogant, because you have to have that competitive edge, and so he balances it up nicely. He is down to earth, and he's a humble guy, but he's not going to cower. He's gonna enjoy himself, and like you said about the thing that blew me away about him is, for years, people and English football was complaining that English players didn't want the ball. It was kick and rush, or it was just give it to the fast winger. He wants the ball. He's a bit like Jack Wilshere, like just never hides. Give me the ball, I'll control it. I don't care if I've got 2 or 3 people around me, and I'll evade them, twist, turn, and then I'll release someone and go.
The Jack Wilshere comparison, that's a really good comparison, actually, the Jack Wilshere comparison. That low centre of gravity, Yeah, and as you say, you just don't see it in English players. It feels Spanish, doesn't it? It feels too good for these shores. And I just think he should be commended. And I don't get why opposition fans don't like him. That's exactly what I want.
Because he gives it, and they don't like it. They like players who just kind of keep their head down. He doesn't. He's shushing the Tottenham fans. He's doing Haaland celebration, isn't he?
But I like Neil Maupay. Do you know what I mean? I like that. I like
as a
like
character.
that. Yeah. But then that's the same character. I think, and it feels to me like the same character.
But we don't want robots, do we? We don't want emotionless, soulless. Because we moaned about that as well. I hate to use him as a bit of an example, but I suppose that Ozil kind of era, wherever they looked like they were in their sort of like ivory towers, all protected and just separate from everything, and all very kind of business-like and no personality. We like footballers with personality, and Maupay, he's a bit of a git, but he's the pantomime villain. But what else is he gonna do? Like they're the best ones when we go to. I go to a few away games here and there, and it's all about giving it to their local hero and having that kind of banter in the crowd or whatever. And I think Lewis Skelly is going to fulfill that role, absolutely. And it's just, people don't like him because he's young, he's good, and he is happy to play up to the crowd. Oh, we love him. Right, so what about non-Arsenal players then? Are there any that catch your eye? You said you like Maupay, but maybe more about his character rather than his quality.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you where he plays. I don't know. Is he a striker?
Marseille, he's in France, I think. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what position he plays on the pitch. I don't think I've ever watched him play football. I just like that he's a bit of a prick. Do you know what? It's fun. I was talking to someone the other day about other players from other clubs. One that I really liked, and I liked his career trajectory and how he developed as a player over his career. Yaya Toure.
Oh yeah.
That for me, to go from centre back at Barca, then a 6, then by the end he's sort of a second striker. Yeah. He can score free kicks. He just runs through the middle of teams. Can't stop him. I liked a bit of that. That's my kind of midfielder. Just run through the middle. Doesn't matter what anyone does.
The thing that got me was he always seemed to do it in a very relaxed style.
Yeah.
There was no grimace. There was no kind of like. It was just, I'm playing at my own pace, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I loved Yaya. He's one that I really liked from other teams. I've enjoyed De Bruyne over the years. I think especially when they had Sane and Sterling, some of the balls he would play just straight through teams to find those guys was nice to watch. And yeah, they're the two that stand out for me. I feel bad that they're City players now. I feel embarrassed.
But that was at a time when, yeah, all right, we knew they were a moneyed club and this, that, and the other, but they were still quite likeable. I remember being a big fan of like David Silva, Company.
Yeah.
It's hard. You couldn't really dislike Company, could you? You know, nice,
No.
big, cuddly Belgian guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something about this current iteration, just a little bit less likable, and I know Haaland probably plays into that quite a bit. But I don't know. They seem really chippy, and I don't know. They just rub people up the wrong way.
I think there's just less fun players around in general now. In my opinion, I don't look around. There's less people that I'm just buzzing to watch on Match of the Day. Isak is one, I have to say. Isak is one that I mean, I allowed myself to dream on that one, and I regret it now because.
So have we.
Yeah, it's just, and it's so Henri light, you know. That's it's hard not to fall in love with that, but I don't think that's going to happen. It doesn't seem that way.
Oh God, no! It costs too much now. They're in the Champions League, and we're going to balk at whatever we're going to end up paying for a striker. So no, absolutely. I mean, there's not many particularly sort of funny characters, but have you noticed? Have there been any funny moments in either the last season or last few seasons? Because we're at the North Bank, we don't like to take football too seriously and quite enjoy the lighter side of football. So, what are some of the sort of funny moments or things that you can recall?
There's so much with football and especially around Arsenal. Like, there's just so much ridiculous shit that, you know, buying a cup keeper who's cup tied. It's just genius. I just don't think it happens to anyone else. Do you know what I mean? I look around. I'm like, I don't think anyone else is doing stuff like this.
Kim Karlstrom with his broken back.
By the end, Sterling. It was so bad. It was funny. I remember away fans at our away games chanting if Sterling scores, we were on the pitch.
Well, we're saying it. I was at Southampton away last game of the season.
Oh, were you there as well? Yeah.
If Sterling scores, we're on the pitch because we knew how there it would be. I mean, how much do you feel? I feel bad, but
I know. You do almost feel bad. You do almost feel bad for the guy because he doesn't want to be that bad. He's in the top 20 goal scorers in the Premier League ever. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not. He's had a serious career, Raheem Sterling. He doesn't want to be the butt of the joke like that.
Loads of goals for England, everything.
Yeah, and yet it's this. It's So I every season there's something with Arsenal. Every season there's something that's like we are a bit of a banter club. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's not easy to sort of demand that we're taken seriously as Arsenal fans.
I made it. Sometimes it comes as well. There are some Arsenal fans definitely out there that take themselves too seriously. I was replying to another podcast, a latte firm, because they asked about, what would be your unpopular sort of Arsenal transfer opinion, and I put as a joke. I included all the emojis that should have signalled that this was a joke, and I said that we shouldn't make a signing because. And I listed a load of stuff about, I don't know, Waneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly, Young still coming through. Tommy Assa would be like a new signing and stuff like this. I mean, stupid stuff that anyone would just go, well, that's obviously ridiculous. And the amount of people that came back were just like, well, that's why we're not going to win a trophy. And it's people like you. And it's just like, guys, come on, have a day off.
Mate, you cannot with Arsenal fans on the internet. Arsenal fans on the internet. I mean, fucking hell, yeah. I try not to get too involved, to be honest with you. So it's just so mad, and it's so like the obsession with transfers. That is such a sore spot for people. That is so like it's like I think some people try to kid themselves that football is quite a masculine sport. And I think the fact that we spend 3 months of the summer obsessed with both shopping and gossip kind of proves that it's as traditionally effeminate as someone might like. But people go fucking nuts with it. You have to be very careful with that.
You're absolutely right as well. It is, it is just gossip and it's just rumour. And I always get annoyed with the kind of recency bias that somehow a club's problems are fixed by buying. And of course, Arsenal have a need in their team, and I want us to go out and buy a striker and blah, blah, blah as well. But you look at another club, and Man United are probably the best example of this now. They've got money, and they've spent money, but there's something wrong in the culture of the club. And what I like about our progression over the last few years is we've sorted that bit out. That is a lot better than it was before.
Yeah. Well, and also, I think you have to remind yourself that, like, transfers go wrong all the time.
All the time.
And like, you can sit there and you can go, I want, I don't know, Barcola from PSG. He'll be the answer. That'll be it. How many times have you seen a player like Barcola go somewhere else? It just goes to shit. Like, and you, all you need to do, go on like Transfer Market or whatever it is, or any of those sites, and just go through like another club's last 10 signings, and you will go, he's shit, he was rubbish, that didn't work, that's shit. Right? Like, all of them. You look at City, Savinho hasn't worked, Doku hasn't worked. Like, you can go through loads of the poor fucking centre back from France they got, who looks like he doesn't know where he is. Like, he's not having a good time. They have spent the money. That Spanish midfielder, January, I don't even know what he does. Like, they get loads of them wrong. They get loads of them wrong. Most successful club in England, they get loads of transfers wrong. To think that a transfer is just going to solve your season is mental.
And it's a volume game then, isn't it? It's just getting so many players through that you can. I remember there was a guy I worked with, and his son was in a youth academy at whatever club. I want to say Norwich, but just because that's near sort of where I live. But I think he was actually somewhere a bit further north, and he was saying about his disillusionment with the whole academy system, because he said any professional club, the academy system takes hundreds of kids through, and you might get a handful of players that make it into the first team. And it's
so wasteful.
It's so wasteful, at every level, whether it's transfers or whether it's youth sort of team as well. But, we're all going to be clamouring for whoever it is going to line up, in the opening game of the season.
Listen,
next season.
I say all this, as soon as we finish this call, I'm going to be straight onto Twitter to check the last hour's worth of Fabrizio Romano's, just to make sure I didn't miss the...
today? Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. After careful consideration, Arsenal are now loose. I don't know what you fucking say. Loosely speculating Sesko.
Yes. Turning no attention to. Oh, go on. Yeah, Phil. So just as we're talking about the current sort of state of Arsenal, where are your thoughts and feelings with, you could be talking about the owners, the players, the fans. I mean, we just come off the back of what most people feel like is a disappointing season, but the Champions League was obviously brilliant. So where are you sort of sitting at the moment with Arsenal?
I think about last season now with the distance of 3 weeks, wherever it is, and I actually regret how much I didn't enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean by that? I remember getting to sort of February, March, and I remember saying to myself, I was like, I'm not having a good time. I got to like end of Jan, I was like, I'm just not having a good time. I'm not enjoying this. Like, so obsessed with every point dropped. The football, I think first half of the season, some of the football wasn't great. We were relying on a lot of crosses, a lot of corners, a lot of set pieces. We weren't creating that much. We obviously spent a season where we missed Saka and Ødegaard for long periods. And I don't know if either of them came back properly fit after the injuries they sustained. But despite all of that, I look back and I go, I should have enjoyed it more. And I did enjoy a lot of it. Spurs at home, fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's
City
great.
At home, Miles and Ethan, brilliant. Like, Liverpool at home, so close to being a really great result and game. And, Real Madrid, I'll never forget it. Do you know what I mean? I'll never forget that. PSG, I think we gave them a fucking good game. You look back at that, we had the beatings of them over two legs.
Oh, we got closer than anyone else. Yeah, too right.
And so why didn't I enjoy it more? And I regret that. And I think I got so overly obsessed with trophies and we have to finally win something and we've come so close. Like, it's fine. It is fine. It is. The only thing worse than being the second best team in the Premier League is being the third, or the fourth, or the fifth. Do you know what I mean? They have all had worse seasons because they've all watched worse results than we have. Their players scored less goals, their keepers conceded more. That's why they're below us in the table. I'm annoyed at myself. I didn't enjoy it more.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, our producer, I don't know if he's actually joking. He says that the Man City game, the Fair Bob, is the best day of his life. And he's a guy, I mean, he's older than me and he's seen it all. But he just,
mate, it was
he
brilliant.
Absolutely loved it.
You couldn't script it. You could not script it. One teenager doing what he did, and then the other one doing it.
At City.
Yeah.
To then
all
get
the rhetoric,
revenge.
all the story. Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. Like, it was perfect. You don't like there. I tell you now, there are trophies that feel worse than that game did. I've enjoyed cup finals less than that game. I can tell you that now. I honestly think I've enjoyed. I think one of those FA Cups, I did feel a bit like, oh, but this is going to make Wenger stay. We've done this a lot recently. Do you know what I mean? I was a bit...
Sure.
I still enjoyed it because I was still hammered at Finsbury Park. But
I was just about to say, so the cup final, I couldn't do Hull because I didn't have enough credits and missed out. I did the Villa one, but then I couldn't do the Chelsea one because a friend of mine got married. I wasn't really a football fan, so I didn't really know. And I was like, you're kidding. And he's like a proper good old friend, so it was like, no, just sucking it off. But anyway, so I did the Villa one, but because I was so excited, again, outside the Blackstock, must have been 9-10 in the morning, and we're getting on the drinks already. There's people on the lorries, on the traffic lights, like celebrating and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think I enjoyed the actual game itself enough, because I think my hangover kicked in at about the 60-minute mark. This is like just later on in the day. So you're absolutely right. That whole Man City game was just joyous start to end.
Perfect.
So
the
good.
Perfect game.
Just out of interest, whereabouts do you sit in the ground?
I am North Bank, block 108.
Okay.
So upper tier, in the corner.
But pretty good view
seats,
of
man.
Deck's free kicks, I guess.
I wasn't there for Deck's free kicks. My girlfriend works Tuesdays. She can often move things around. I can often get childcare if I need to. The babysitters fell through. My parents weren't around. My missus couldn't get out of work. So I watched my team in the biggest game. I watched those fucking goals on the telly downstairs. I did genuinely buy a TV for the game. That's one thing I did. Yeah. I bought a new telly. I was like, fuck it. If I'm not going to be in the stand, I'm watching this as well as I can watch it. 'Cause we didn't have a telly before. We were like, old one broke, hadn't bothered getting a new one. I was watching games on laptops. I was like, fuck this. I'm not watching this on a laptop.
That's the way nowadays. Yeah. Fair play.
Yeah. So no, I bought myself a telly, but I was silently screaming when Deck scored that free kick, so I didn't wake the kids up. Exactly. Yeah.
When it's like me, I've told this story millions of times about just saying to people, he's not going to do it again. There's no way he's doing it again. Because everyone around me was going, go on, Dex, do it again. And I'm like, what? It doesn't happen, surely. And then boom.
And then,
and
even better in my opinion. Like
the second one, definitely.
Free kick, the second one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the first one is a
Further
traditional
out,
kind of
corner.
bend, but that one, it was the only place he could really put it. It's just...
And it felt like it was still going up. Do you know what I mean? He hit it so sweet. It felt like if the net wasn't there, it would have just kept rising.
Yeah, Holly mentioned this when we did the post-match, talking about it. He said that there's a still of a picture one of the photographers took where Saliba's in the foreground, all blurry, but the ball is like in the corner of the goal. But the way the shadow is falling on the... He was going a bit... like JFK conspiracy on the bloody thing. It was like the way the ball is, the trajectory of it, like the shadow on the thing. Like you say, how is it still going up? It's gone
still
over the
rising.
wall.
Yeah.
It just defied all explanation. It was just weird. You probably saw it on repeat. Like I'm assuming TV was just going over and over and over again.
I feel like there was 10 minutes of just that goal. It was fucking... I mean, I feel... it's just amazing. But also, like, obviously not a home experience, not being in the ground for it, but the second game was fucking great as well.
Was it that as well? See,
Did you go?
Yeah, I went, yeah.
Mate.
I keep telling people about it because, I'm lucky in the sense that, because I'm a teacher full-time, but that fell in the Easter holidays. So I was like,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
please, I am there. It was just, it had to be done because I didn't do Bernabeu in '06 or anything like that, and just you had to go. As a stadium, I'd advise going because we were up on the sixth tier,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
you get vertigo. They had separate TVs for us at the back because we were so high up, we couldn't see the TVs that were elsewhere. It's on another level to any other stadium I've been to. It was it was something else. Cool, right. So I mean, the only other questions I've got, we normally like to do this thing when we get people on, where it's a bit of a quick fire sort of questions. We give you some binary choices and it kind of reveals a little bit about you, and then we'll do a bit of a wrap up, and obviously you can plug anything that you've got going on at the moment. So I'm going to start with the first one. Okay, red or yellow?
Red.
Home or away?
Away. Oh, that surprised me.
Did it? Why?
I'd home, surely. I don't know, man.
Have you done many away games?
Not loads in the last few years. Like I'd say, like pre-lockdown, I did a few. I was sort of in the habit of trying to get one in every month or two. But since kids and lockdown, no, not enough.
That's the way it goes.
The last one I did do was that Villa away where Jorginho bopped one in off Emmy's head.
I was there. Honestly.
Were you there as well?
Oh, just the narrative. Arsenal is so full of narrative. To bounce it off Martinez's head.
And then there was the Martinelli goal as well at the end. Do you remember there was the Martinelli goal where he just ran away? So fucking good, man. That was because I think we were 1-0 down, weren't we? In that
we were losing definitely, and then it was it got it to 2-2, and then another 2 in injury time. It was nuts.
That was a great game.
Just
that's the last
erupted.
one. That's the last one.
And to get it over Emery, although I've got no real bad feelings with Emery, just wrong place, wrong time. But Martinez, he's a chippy bit of a git. And I never thought that was the moment. Obviously, we switched on Jorginho. He's got to have a moment like that for us.
That's
to love
it. Yeah, exactly.
I never thought we're going to sign a Chelsea guy and kind of like him, but from that moment on, yeah, he was great. Okay, next one. Watch on TV or in the ground?
Ground.
Highbury or Emirates?
Emirates.
Champions League or Premier League?
Premier League.
There's a pause there. There was a pause there.
I had such a good time in Champions League this season, but if the question is as I interpreted it, which is what would I rather win, I think we need a Premier League. I think we need a Premier League. I think we need to take that away from City, take it away from Liverpool. We need to comprehensively be the best team in this country.
Me, Chris, and Holly all agree on that as well. It's that 38 game, and against the teams we're against, if we were in a league where it wasn't as competitive further down, but City, Liverpool are extremely good. I do worry about the likes of Chelsea because they've got the money to throw at it, and Newcastle because I think they're slowly building
Newcastle
it.
are good.
They are good. Yeah, they're kind of a worry, and so it's such a competitive league. So to win that is right, and the Champions League, it's a cup competition at the end of the day. All those XG merchants were saying, oh, we had it over PSG. It's like, well, yeah, but we didn't put.
That's the point. That's the point. Yeah.
Okay, Monday Night Football or Match of the Day?
Oh, Monday Night Football.
VAR in or VAR out?
VAR out.
I'm with you on that, definitely. As much as, we could retrain people, I'd just rather without it. That hesitation celebrating a goal, not for me.
I think it's just fair to say it hasn't worked. I think it's fine to say we tried it, it just didn't work. It's just made everyone unhappy.
Yeah. All right. Journey or destination?
Destination now.
Yeah. We've had a long enough journey.
The journey's been great. I've loved the journey.
Oh, it's been great.
It's been a long journey.
This last few years.
Long journey. The journey has been good, but the journey has been long, and I think it's time for the destination now.
Okay. Pub or Twitter?
Pub. Fucking hell. Pub. And you know what? The worst people on Twitter are the people you can tell have not spent enough time in pubs or do well in pubs. speak to strangers for too long. Do you know what I mean? Too much to say. Yeah.
And then finally, tactics or passion?
Tactics.
Okay, nice.
Tactics.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been lovely having you on, chatting all things Arsenal.
Mate, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, no worries. I mean, we like to do these sorts of things, and it's great getting lots of different sort of people on, especially Arsenal fans like yourself, while there's no real football around. But if you're willing to come back on and chat when there is a game or something to talk about, we'd love to have you on.
Love to, man. Really love to.
Is there anything that you want to plug to our listeners? Have you got any gigs coming up or anything?
Check out if you want a comedy podcast. Check out the Screenrot Podcast that I do with my mate Jake. It's kind of about social media, but we also just chat a load of rubbish, and I think
confirm
it's very funny.
You do.
yeah.
I've listened to a few. It's interesting listening from my point of view because I'm a middle-aged man, and a lot of what you talk about, I have no idea what on earth it's going on. We've joined the realms of TikTok through the podcast,
right?
And so, but our algorithm is such that I don't see much else. It's very
lucky you, mate. Lucky you. Well done.
But at the same time, working in a school, kids teach me loads. I pick up just the language. Yeah. They'll use phrases and they'll talk to each other and say things. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I get this spiel about, it's this thing you saw. And then this is it. They also say, oh, no, I believe that because I saw it on TikTok. Almost the amount of times that I have to shut that down and go, it might be true, but just because it was on TikTok doesn't make it true. I've said that so many times.
You're up against it, aren't you? You're up against it when you have to fight against TikTok in the schools.
Well, I mean, but and it can be a great tool. You know, I know from a teaching point of view, there's a few good people who put some stuff out there that are helpful to kids about exam advice and all this kind of stuff. And there's some great stuff about like well-being and looking after yourself. Like, I get that, but there's also a lot of rubbish, and you've got to be very discerning to go, well, I don't need that, I don't need this, but yeah. Teaching them how to think critically about it. But you guys talk very funny about it and sort of pick it apart, and I like the way you
thank you
sort of contextualize it, and it's always good for a laugh. Cool.
Thanks, mate.
Well, thanks for having you on, and thanks to everyone who has listened or watched to this. We'll hopefully have some more North Bank Meets episodes coming up soon, but thanks for listening and take care. See you later.
The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at NorthBankPod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by The Podcast Company.